A few weeks ago, I posted a short video alluding to the fact that I would do a full model railway tour this year. So I want to start this tour by stating one thing. I'm not a true railway modeller. What is a true railway modeller, you ask? Well, for me, it's somebody who can model everything from scratch to how they want it. And that might be through kit building, that might be through manufacturing themselves. I don't know. But for me, that is not my remit. I'm not really in a setup at the moment that I can model too many things because my layout is not a permanent layout. Everything you see here is placed on, can be put away, stored, and it comes out again different in the next 6 to 8 months. And that aspect is really good because every single year there's a new concept, a new idea, a new perception of what a railway looks like for me. And everything you see here is modelled with the perception of heritage railway, because that's what I've grown up with as a young boy. And, you know, I've sort of carried that passion and interest all the way through. So, you know, all my trips, as you would have seen on my channel that I go on each year, there's always something new that you see. There's always a new idea that you think, that would be good to, you know, have a go at modelling on my sort of layout next year. And yeah, I quite like that aspect, that everything comes out new and different. There's a new track plan. There's a new, you know, like way of doing something. And I think that's what this hobby's all about. It's about building new ideas and having something that, you know, you can interchange if you want to. So for me, it's all about running the trains. That is something that I've always enjoyed when I was a kid, and it's something that I've carried through all the way into my adulthood with this hobby. I'm now 28 and I've been doing this hobby for a long time, and for me that keeps this hobby interesting. I'm someone who prioritises running the locomotives. That is my remit. That is something that I really enjoy. So I want to operate it like a heritage railway. So that is what I've grown up with. That is what the passion has been for me over the years. And that has carried through into model railway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a few scenes to take you through and sort of explain why I've modelled these particular things and what's different compared to previous years. And yeah. So here we are in the yard. Now the yard is situated on the 1 by 1 metre extension board, which was new last year, as I've already mentioned. But as you can see from the main station, which I'll go through in a minute, the train starts its journey in the yard and then diverts off to the main station. So really happy with this yard. This is pre-made and built. That is the coal tower. So that's all been painted, blackened up, and it's got some real coal in it as well, which is quite cool. We've then got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then almost 6 with the addition of some extra sidings as well. So we've got lots of space for railway locomotive storage, which provides opportunities for other locomotives to visit whilst others are being stored out the way. This is a new model here. What I've got is a kind of like a goods canopy, which I bought from Backman Scenecraft, but I've actually converted that into a small tank engine kind of engine area, if you like, so that actually I've got more space to store the littler engines whilst the big engines dominate the main area. So that works out quite well. This is the Dunster engine shed, which Hornby created for, I think it was last year possibly. That kind of fits really nicely because although it's GWR, It also has that kind of NER feel to it as well, with the sort of maroon here and kind of the grey effect. So actually, even though it's not meant to be within shot of this, the Gofin station over there kind of fits quite nicely with that anyway, in terms of the colour scheme. So yeah, it's a very good yard for me. You know, I've got quite a lot of opportunity for loco movement. This is my fiddle yard, really. I try not to use the hand of God too much, but yeah, I'm sort of working on this area here to try and, you know, create some more yardy stuff, just basically just to buy a load of rubbish and throw it in the yard, because that's what most heritage railway yards look like nowadays. So yeah, plenty of things still to kind of evolve. One thing that is new is this section here, which is kind of like a railway runoff, and I've just ordered actually a low loader lorry, so I can try and model some scenes of new visiting locos to be set up and rolled onto the rails from here. So yeah, very excited for that. Also recently just received from my uncle a turntable, which is a kit built one. So, and luckily with my setup, it can just be placed on. It probably won't come out this year, but it's definitely something for next year's layout that I'm thinking about, and actually being able to spin engines around. So yeah, should be interesting. But yeah, that's the yard. So I'm sat here right next to the main terminus station. What we've got here is we've got Dunster station, and we've got the Dunster goods shed. We've got the Chinnell signal box, which is just here. It's just out of shot at the moment. And you can see quite clearly that this whole scene is modelled on Great Western. And there are a couple of little things that are not quite Great Western. We've got the NER footbridge here, but this was the closest thing I could find that fit the colour scheme of Great Western, even though it's not quite. And yeah, we've got a little mini car park here. And what I wanted to have this year was, I wanted to have a new station. I'd always previously used Gofin station, which is now just over there. And yeah, I wanted to kind of go with a bit more of a GWR theme. So for me, I really like GWR. That is kind of my railway region of choice. And yeah, this is something I thought, with all of Hornby's releases of Great Western this year, I thought it's a good opportunity to try and model some of this. So we've got 2 tracks with a little footpath here. And yeah, the idea of it is the train obviously comes out the yard, comes down one of these tracks, attaches onto a train, pulls it round, and yeah, eventually once it's gone to the end of the line, it does a normal run around like a heritage railway would, and brings the train back in to the main station. So as you can see, trees are everything for me, because trees separate every part of the layout. So it looks like the train has gone on a journey every single time. And having a station terminus or a start of the line that is separate from the running loop and also the end of line terminuses, it's really hard to model in the space that I've got, but it really does give me that sense of the train is going on a journey like it does do on heritage railways. And for me, that's really important in terms of the realism and the idea of running a railway for me. So yeah, very happy with this year. Obviously the inside platform's a little bit smaller, and the outside platform is more sort of for the larger trains. I can only run a maximum of 5 coaches at any one time on the outer line, because my end of line terminus, which is over there, that is only suitable for that length to allow the train to run around and connect onto the end. So I think I have tested running 6 teak coaches, so that just about fits in. But in terms of the BR Maroons and the length that they are, only 5 is the maximum, but that's plenty. So yeah, that is the station this year. Let's move on. At this point, the train would have left the main station, and we'll have to navigate this bit here, which is very cautious. As you can see, it's a 5 mile an hour speed limit here. and that is because it's going off of the main points here onto this point, which will navigate it onto the main loop of the layout. So at that point, once it's gone past Scaledale Junction, you'll see the 25 mph speed limit. At that point, the train can then start accelerating round. So yeah, I quite like this area here, mainly because of the tunnel, because the tunnel actually is a nice backdrop that separates the entry and exit to both sections of the line, which gives it that little bit of separation, a bit like what the trees do for me. So yeah, very happy with that. And obviously the castle on the hill is a nice little touch, as well as the castle here. So yeah, I'm now going to take you over to the junction to kind of show you what I've interpreted over there. And here is the next section of the layout where, as you can see, I have some sidings available for some rolling stock storage. And this is kind of my own interpretation of swivelling sidings on the Great Central Railway, because I like that railway, as it's my first real memory of being on a heritage railway with steam trains. And obviously it's nice to be able to model different kind of things that I see on that line as well, i.e. the big van trains or the wagon trains. But yeah, there's a reason, or two reasons why I like this area of the line, and that's because it provides me with some shunting opportunities, and also it's quite a complex area. As you can see, we've got the token exchange there. Actually, that's not particularly straight, is it? I'm gonna have to sort that out. But we've also got the ability to, from here, the 08 shunter that I have from Bachmann can then shunt these trains all the way through this very tricky navigation of points into these sidings. And that's always quite fun to watch, because I haven't really had too many mishaps. I did have to replace the wheels on these coaches to help them run a bit smoother through that little tight spot. But yeah, it seems to be all sort of working fine now, which is good. So yeah, obviously this is the point where the train that I'm running on the inside line will swap. And yeah, obviously come back the same way when it comes back into the main station terminus. So yeah, I quite like this area of the line. Now I'm going to show you the end of the lines. So this is the first end of line terminus for the inside line. And we've got a nice little run around and a little station there, which leads off into the town. And we've got all of our shops, our hot dog van, we've got a wedding and a big church. And I've tried to encompass a bit of a classic car show as well, because my stepdad has his own TR6 classic car and he really enjoys looking at this part of the layout. So I always try and get a little scene in there where I've got classic car show. But yes, here we go. So I can only fit 3 Mark 1 coaches in that siding, which allows the train to run around. And we've got enough space there, as you can see, for a sizable locomotive to do a bit of a run around, which is nice. So that gives me more scope to run some of those trains that can navigate the tighter curves. So yeah, that is the inside line. And we've also got a little bit of a water tower there, just in case we're running an extensive timetable where there isn't enough time for our locomotives to start with water fill up. So yeah, I've considered that. And then our next one, which is for the outer line, is here where our Goflin station is, and all the other little bits and pieces as well that you might see in real life to do with Goflin. So yeah, that point over there switches, and then I invested in some express points so that I could have a tighter gap between both lines, and that allowed me to fit the platform there comfortably along with the trees. And as we know, trees separate all of the different parts to the layout for me, which is really, really good. So, and again, we've got a very sizable runaround space to fit all of the big locos around there. So yeah, that's worked out really nicely this year. And as you can see, got a nice big space to fit a good amount of coaches on that line as well. So yeah, that is essentially the tour of the layout. I will take you through a few pictures to show you the other niche spots on the layout if you haven't quite picked up on where they are. Well guys, that is the tour of my model railway for this year. Please stay tuned for plenty of other videos that are going to be coming out this year. Lots more running sessions. I've planned my first gala for next weekend, so there'll be some short videos and possibly a main video of that running. I've ordered some little headboards as well, which I'm going to try out on some of the locomotives that I'll be selecting to run for that gala. And yeah, more updates to come. So thank you very much for spending the time watching the video today. I really appreciate all the new subscribers that I've had, especially over the last few months. So thank you for that. And yeah, stay tuned for more model railway content.